Hello, I'm Susan Booth from Alive Pilates. I'm come to talk about menopause. Is there anybody there? I'll just wait a few moments to see if anybody comes in. Okay, we've got one person viewing. If you could just say hi in the comments so that I know that you're there. Hello, Kat. Kat's here. Hello. So we're going to talk about menopause today and how different kinds of exercise can change your symptoms. So I'm going to crack straight on and then you can come in. So I do want to do a Q&A session. So if you have any specific questions about menopause, pop them in the comments below, and then at the end of when I've stopped going on about it, I'll go through the questions for you. I'll put my glasses on, can't see at the moment. So I've got, is that Danny? Yeah, Danny's there and Kat at the moment. Okay, I'll just crack on. So I'm Susan Booth and I work with many women that are over 40. And in my life as a fitness instructor, I, for 15 years, was a diet instructor for Rosemary Conley Diet and Fitness Clubs. And so I've helped thousands of ladies to lose weight. And the reason why I became more interested in the 40 plus group of ladies was because I found that the diet stopped working when they became sort of perimenopausal, which I'll talk about in a minute. And so what would happen is they'd lose weight really well, do the normal things, eat less calories, do loads more exercise, and the weight dropped off. But when they got to 40, 45, 50, this stopped happening as easily. It was much more tricky and the body shape started to change, but I didn't really know anything about it. So when I finished with the Rosemary Conley franchise, I became a fitness instructor myself then, and just doing it with my own clients. And I decided to study why that was. Why was it that ladies that are over 40 find it much harder to lose weight, and why were they gaining weight around the middle? Well, it took me down this big rabbit hole where I found out everything to do with the menopause. And actually at that time I think I was about 47 myself. So I was recognizing some of these symptoms anyway for myself. So I found out lots of stuff all about the menopause in terms of women's health, fitness, food, symptoms, everything. So what we're going to talk about specifically today is how you can tweak your exercise to help your symptoms. So first of all, let's just talk about the menopause. I don't know how many of you are in that sort of age bracket, but anywhere from 40, 45, 50, you will be going through the perimenopause, which is the run up to your last ever period. Now you'll never know when that is, because the only way you can say you've been through the menopause is you have a period and then 12 months later you still haven't had one 12 months later, and then you'll know then that you're postmenopausal. So we call it perimenopausal. From now, I'm just going to call it menopausal. It's just easier to say. But what we find is that ladies around 40, 45, 50, again, it's very varied. They start to be aware of many different symptoms of all sorts of things. Now, I have a big document here, and there's actually 34 possible symptoms which could be you going through the perimenopause that's here. And I'll ask Kat if you want me to. I'll upload it into the group later and you can have a look, because it's actually little ticks. There's little tick boxes at the side and you can tick off of the ones that you are feeling or suffering or have mainly suffered throughout your time of perimenopausal. Now, so what it is, it's about all the hormones. You probably know this already, but it's all about the hormones and how they change your body, change your we're basically aging. So it's the relationship between the progesterone and estrogen, which is the most important one. But there's a whole host of hormones in your bodies that are giving signals to your body all the time. And they work like an orchestra, and then we need to work all together. But when one of them becomes declines or drops away, the others become very disrupted as well. So you can get all types of symptoms ranging from, I'm just going to put my glasses on, ranging from weight gain around the middle, which is the main one, which has made me want to research it, sleep issues, vaginal dryness, pelvic floor issues, joint pains, achiness, just feeling anxiety, depression, irritability, panic disorder. There's just 34. I know it is. Wow, Catherine, you're right. It is. And it's really fine. You find that some ladies are kind of not aware that these symptoms are related to going through that time. Most people think, all right, I'm going through the menopause. I've just got to watch whether my period's erratic or not. But it is much bigger than that, much deeper than that. So there's a whole document there you can have a look through. There's a little, I've written down some details on each of the symptoms so you can have a quick look at that. But it is worth knowing, and often the symptoms aren't bad enough to go to the doctor, but you find that they're just like niggly. The niggly things that we're not really sort of going to the doctor for, but we kind of feel like just not great for yourself. So you know, it is important to be aware of that to start with. Obviously there's HRT and all sorts of things that you can go on. I'm not going to cover that today because that's not my remit, but if you do want more information on that, I'm not a doctor, but I can point you in the direction of someone that is actually a menopausal specialist that I follow online all the time. She's fantastic. She's got some great information out there if that's the way you want to go with it. So back to, what am I saying? Yes, so the average age of a woman going through her last period is 52 in this country. So the chances are that you're around that age, you might have already gone through it or not going through it. You don't know. You know, you'll know yourself if you are or not. Now, if you go to the doctors and you have a blood test, you ask for a blood test to see if you have been through it. It's not a very reliable test because your hormones are so erratic at this time. One day it can show that the blood test shows that you're high, which means that you've actually not going through the menopause. But then the next day you could go have the same blood test and it would be low. So it's not conclusive, that kind of thing, unless you go to a specialist, pay a lot of money and have all complete bloods done. Really going to your GP is not great to know. So you kind of need to be aware of this yourself. And once you're aware, there's definitely loads of things you can do to help you to soothe the symptoms. And that's what I always teach my members about. And soothing the symptoms is the big thing, really. We just want to make sure that we can manage the symptoms, that we feel like we're having a good lifestyle, really, let's face it. Now, obviously, you guys are all really fit, which is fantastic. And that is definitely one of the main things to do, is to move your body, because you will find that it becomes more efficient at doing everything. So definitely moving your body is a great thing. However, there are certain things you need to be aware of. Now, let's go back to the hormones. You've got your estrogen, your progesterone, and then the other two main ones I like to talk about are the cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and the insulin, which is to do with your blood sugars. And cortisol particularly can get you can become much more stress reactive. So your cortisol actually lifts right up when your estrogen and progesterone are low. So it's like being PMT, you've got PMT, premenstrual tension. You know when you're a bit irritable and you want to like bite everyone's head off? You become like that a lot more, basically. And then we know that that's probably cortisol that's really hiked up, and that you're finding that these symptoms are coming. Now, other symptoms that you might have according to having high cortisol is waking up very early in the morning. So cortisol is a hormone that we all need. We do need stress in our body, but we don't need this much. And in the first thing in the morning, you might wake up around 4 or 5 o'clock and you just cannot go back to sleep again. Actually, that's cortisol that's just a bit too high. So cortisol is one of the main hormones that I help women soothe, and we can do this in many ways. Food, lots of food related. I won't talk about that at the moment, but let's talk about the exercise. So when you exercise your body really hard at cardio exercise, I know Kat and Danny do some fantastic classes in this group. I've just had a little scroll through, and it's fabulous. So much energy, it's fantastic. But sometimes that not sometimes, it always does. It always stresses your body, and that's basically how you become fitter. You stress your body, you're pushing it to the limit, and then you rest, and it recovers, and it repairs, and then you get stronger, and that's absolutely fantastic. However, when you become stress reactive and you have these symptoms of high cortisol, you just need to be aware that you're not overdoing it. So, for instance, everyone's at a different fitness level for a start, but you need to listen to your body. So if you wake up one morning and you go, oh, I really want to do that class because I've always done that class. I've done that class on Wednesdays for 65 years and I know I can do that class, but God, I don't feel like doing that class. and my joints really ache today, and I'm really tired, and my muscles really ache, and I feel a bit buzzy, and I've woken up at 5 in the morning, but oh dear, I don't feel great. You know, you need to listen to your body, because that might be a day where your body's going, just rest now, please, and let's get the cortisol levels down. So there's plenty of other kinds of exercise that will help you to lower your cortisol levels. So my message really here in this little chat I'm doing is just to listen to your body and notice if you need to drop your cortisol levels down so that you become less stress reactive, you're not biting everyone's head off in the household and whatever, and you're not getting hot flushes, because sometimes that, well, definitely that cortisol levels make your hot flushes more. Again, I haven't really talked much about hot flushes. People think it's just about hot flushes, but like I say, there's all these other symptoms. So just listen to your body and notice. Now, what I do is I give my members one of these little activity sheets, and it's there's 4 different types of exercise I want them to do on there, and I want them to spread it evenly. So what I like, the first one on here is stress relieving activities. Now, what I would list in there is things like going for a walk in nature. So science has shown that walking just slowly within green spaces can really lower the stress levels, the cortisol levels, dramatically. So don't go for a power walk. You don't need to do that, because you can do your cardio exercise with Kat and Danny, but just go out and chill out and just go for a nice walk in the countryside. Things like having a massage, so actual physical touch of the body can lower the stress levels of the body. Meditating, so going with inside your mind and breathing. Breathing techniques is a fantastic one to lower that nervous system. So you've got 2 sides of your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and relaxation side, and your sympathetic nervous system, which is your like stressed out, oh quick, the tiger's coming to get me, it's your fight and flight, you got to run fast. And absolutely amazing if you're really fit and you're doing all your high cardio exercise, your sympathetic nervous system is going to be right on track. But the trouble is, and the body always needs this balance, the sympathetic nervous system's high up here, your cortisol gets involved, and then you're like a stress monkey. So the parasympathetic nervous system needs to be activated. And one of the best things to do for that is deep breathing. So I call this, so on their activity sheet, this is like an exercise sheet, I want them to put in there Thursday afternoon, a deep breathing. I did it for 10 minutes, because then I know that they're balancing the whole of their body out. So one of the techniques is a square breathing technique, where you inhale for 3, you hold your breath for 3, and then you exhale for 3, and then you hold your breath for 3. So you can actually draw with your finger. I find that's a really easy way to do it for myself. And just do that if you can. I know I'm speaking really fast, so I'm probably stressing myself out here. But slow everything down and do that breathing technique. Have a go and see if you feel calmer in your body, and you probably will. And then you're ready to hit that cardio again when you've rested and relaxed. Now, obviously, one of the other symptoms is sleep is an issue, and a lot of women do complain about not being able to sleep properly. You don't feel like you've had a good night's sleep. When you wake up in the morning, it's like having a baby again. You feel like you've not slept. And again, do you want to, when you've not slept, go harder in the exercise and feel absolutely shattered even more? Probably not. So I would suggest there, again, listen to the body and go, actually, I just need a bit of a break. I'm not saying completely stop all exercise, because I'm coming on to the cardio, because it's fantastic for you. So the cardio exercise is fantastic for your heart health, and your heart diseases, you're at much higher prevalence of heart disease after the menopause. So it's absolutely crucial that you get your heart health up and do it now. And the 2 ways to do it, well, the one way to do it is a HIIT exercise or some real cardio blast sessions of 30 minutes maximum, which I know that Danny and Kat do in this group. So fantastic. That is absolutely hitting the nail on the head for your heart health, and heart health is everything. Also, with HIIT is fantastic for burning fat, because it's small bursts of exercise. It's not going to stress your body too much, and then you have that respite in the end, in the bottom, the in the middle. And then afterwards, your body is so much more metabolically active, which means that you're burning more calories for 2 hours after you've done the 30 minutes of your HIIT exercise with Danny and Kat. So it's fantastic for fat burning. So if you're someone who's finding in the midsection weight gain, that's one of the big things. Just keep with your HIIT, but I would say only try to do it 3 to 4 times a week. Depends on your fitness level now. I don't know what your fitness levels are in this group, but 3 to 4 times a week with your HIIT sessions. Relaxation activities, that first one I talked about, that's your walks in the countryside, your meditations. I want you to do that 3 to 4 times a week as well. You don't have to go for long, you don't have to do it for a long time, but I want you to start to be aware of your body and how you feel in your body. That's really important, and your mind, because it's all obviously connected. So the other main area of importance for the body is the strength side of your exercise. Now, I know Danny and Kat, they do a great strength class, and this is fabulous because, again, muscle mass declines dramatically after the menopause. Again, it's like nature's way in saying, look, you don't need to be strong anymore because you're not holding any babies, you're not going to make a baby. So upper body, particularly round the shoulders, arms and upper back, becomes much weaker after the estrogen has dropped down and stayed down after the menopause. So it's really important that we keep that muscle mass strong and keep it there. And you want good massive muscle there to keep that strength and keep your body upright. It helps with the joint pain, because that's another symptom: joint pain, muscle pain, just general aches and pains. And you do see a lot more ladies with impingements in the shoulder. So what do you call it? Frozen shoulder, that's it. So we see frozen shoulder a lot. So mobility of the shoulder joint is absolutely crucial. So keep the mobility exercises going and the strength exercises. Again, muscle, so strong muscle actually burns more calories when you're asleep. So there again, if you're doing that weight gain thing, you need to keep strong, because the strength exercise is actually even better than any long steady state exercise. So the one we're really not great with for menopausal women is running and cycling. I'm saying that because I'm actually a cyclist myself. I love cycling, but I actually find that cycling for me now is a meditative kind of sport. And obviously if running is doing that for you as well, absolutely fine. Carry on. It's fabulous if it's doing it for your mind, you're outside in the countryside, whatever. But to do it just solely and do nothing else, it can stress the body. It's just a steady state, and it can stress the body even more because you're only doing one mode of movement, and so you can feel more joint pain, and also it can stress the body and you have the opposite effect. So I have had ladies that have been runners and cyclists, and they've gained a lot of weight around the midsection, and they can't understand why. And it's because they're doing 100 miles a week on their bike or whatever, and they're just stressing it out too much. So my advice to them is always to go, right, let's mix it up. Let's mix that exercise up. Let's do some good core strength stuff, and then go on to some nice yoga, something calming. Pilates is really great for maintaining muscle mass and all that kind of thing. Meditation, and I do actually prescribe other types of exercise for those that are doing steady state. If you're a woman and you've never exercised before and you're 40 to 45, 50, I would never say get on your bike and cycle. That's all you're going to do. I'd say go and do that. Try any exercise. Anything that suits you is the best one, because it means you're going to do it forever. But really, I wouldn't say just go off and do steady state for the rest of your life and never do anything else. So the name of the game with the exercise is the variety, and it's knowing your body and how it feels in its stress state or calm state, and know the difference between the two states of the body. Let me just check I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So yes, let me just go over it again. So we've got cortisol is the most important thing that we need to start to manage, because cortisol can make us anxious. So we want to be doing that really stress relieving kind of exercise. Go for a walk with your friend. Chat to them on the phone. It'll just get it off your mind. You can feel really irritable. Panic disorders come in as well. Strength exercise, especially osteoporosis. Yes, so after the menopause, the lowering of the estrogen can really thin the bones and make them much weaker. So strength exercise again is good for that. Anything that's got bone loading on the wrists, particularly areas of the spine, hips, and wrists are the big key areas here. So anything that you're doing like planks and things like yoga, downward dog. Or anything with heavy weights is really good as long as your body is adaptive for it. So that's a great way to keep your body strong and keep your bones strong. So we want loaded exercise on those areas. And yes, a walk's fantastic for your hips, knees and ankles, but it's not enough when you're postmenopausal. You do need to up the ante and get some better, get some weights, get some hand weights. I know that Kat does a session with hand weights. So do, use them, but only if your body's already adapted to it. Start small. And then walking's the key one again. So as we move through the menopause and beyond, so then you're postmenopausal, so women 60, 70, 80 are still coming to my classes actually. And I find that they're really strong in the hips and the ankles and the knees. And this is because I really encourage them to walk loads and also balance. So balance is a key one that breaks away. So we work on balance a lot in my classes, particularly because I want to make sure that everyone's hips are strong, and walking is just the easiest way to do that. So when you go walking, you're going to be doing the hip strength and you're going to do the mindfulness thing. So that's a great way to clear your mind and strengthen your hips as well. What else did I say? And yeah, your joints. So make sure you're mobile through your joints. Yeah. So that's all the exercise end of menopause and beyond, and really just keep moving, keep loving it, and keep the variety. And that's the real key thing here. Let me see if there's any questions. Do anybody have any questions? So Dawn is Danny's mum and she's 57 and so is going through this. Yeah, I know, Dawn, sorry. Yeah, so it can actually last for 10 years, the symptoms. So you might not even know that you're in it. And I do have ladies going, well, I didn't know why. I couldn't understand why my memory had gone funny at the age of 45, but that probably is the beginning of it. It might not be as well. It might be something else. That's the symptoms are quite vague in that way. They're not, like I say, they're not deep enough to go to the doctors, if you like. So yeah, if you're 57, you may be having hot flushes. So hot flushes, a big one. If you are, just let me know if you are, Dawn, having hot flushes. That is the one that most people do notice because they are irritating. They really are. So you can have them in the daytime or you can have them at night, and they call them night sweats in the night. And lots of ladies say, oh God, I'm sweating in the night. I find mine just here. And sometimes there's like an electric shock thing that goes through your body before you feel one coming on. You might be because you're a little bit more stressed. So again, that stress hormone, we need to get that down. And one of the key things I say to my ladies with it is to try and get off your tea and coffee, because tea and coffee can really make your cortisol levels shoot right up. So if you are having loads of tea and coffee, first of all, just try to halve it. Don't just go cold turkey because you'll have some withdrawal effects. So just try and halve it, or just take a few cups off each day and see how you feel. Also, meditation's fantastic for hot flushes. Really can calm everything down. I'm 52 and I think I'm just coming out the other side. Fantastic, Andrea. That's really good. That's lucky. What's made you think you are? Can you feel differently? That's what this is interesting to know. Hello, Claire Cole. I know you. This is definitely me, Lucy. Yes. Okay, supplements. I'm not going to recommend any supplements because I am not a supplement specialist. So I'm just putting that as a small print before I start. But I will tell you what I take, and I do believe that I do feel better for taking these supplements. So one of the main ones is magnesium. The bodies need magnesium anyway. All of us do, whether we're perimenopausal or beyond and whatever. We all need magnesium because the fruit and veg that we eat now are grown in soil that hasn't got any magnesium in, hardly any magnesium. So I always take a supplement of, sorry, I don't take a supplement, I actually use it as a cream on my body. So like a body lotion, it's I use magnesium. And also you can use Epsom salts in the bath as well. And this is fantastic for chilling you out and gives you such a good night's sleep. So I definitely recommend if you can get the magnesium spray from Holland and Barrett or online. I'll put a photograph in the comments of the one that I use. I've got actually a few. I've got some sprays and I've got some creams and all sort of things. The other supplements I take are good fats, so the omega-3s, the omega-3, 6 and 9. Again, fantastic, because you do find when you're going through menopause, you're drying out. They are, said it. We're drying out everywhere. Tell me about it. So you'll find that we do need to keep those joints oiled, and that those omega-3s are fantastic for that. They're also fantastic for brain health, because the brain is declining as we lose the estrogen. Actually, there's some research out, recent research, to say that ladies that are on HRT are less likely to get Alzheimer's and dementia. That's interesting, isn't it? Because they're putting some more estrogen in the body. We need that for our brain health. So omega-3, 6 and 9. And I also take turmeric, because again, that's fabulous for my joints. It's actually a mixed capsule. And vitamin D. Oh my God, I'm a big advocate for vitamin D for myself. But obviously we've had loads of sunshine in the last few weeks. So it's fantastic. You've probably topped your levels of vitamin D. But I have had ladies that have been for tests for joint pain because they're just so joint painy that they've actually found that they're deficient in vitamin D. So you may feel, if you're absolutely stiff as in the morning, you think, oh, it's just because I've done exercise. Is it that? Or is it that you're really stiff? And maybe it is worth a little trip to the GPs and say, do you mind, can you give me a vitamin D test? You might need to ask it for it, and you need to demand it, because you know what they're like. And then you can see if you are deficient or not. And generally, if you're perimenopausal, often we are. Actually, in the UK, they're now saying anyone over 60, 65 should be having a vitamin D supplement anyway. So I take vitamin D anyway throughout the summer. But sunshine is your best option for that. So they're the supplements I take, but please don't just take them for me. And also, if you're on medication already, you must ask your GP whether you can mix that medication into it. But another one is the B vitamin complex, is another one I take. I take loads in the morning. I feel great for it. But the B vitamins is, if your body's stressed, mind, body, it actually eats up the vitamin B in your body. So, and vitamin B is water soluble, so you wear it out every day. So you do need to keep getting that vitamin B into your body. Obviously, you can do this through fresh vegetables, meats particularly vitamin B. But I take a supplement as well, because it just makes me feel much more energetic. I've got so much more energy when I've had vitamin B. B12 is fantastic for your brain health again, and also for anxiety and that kind of thing. So they're the ones I take, but again, small print, please don't, just because I said. You do also get supplements in Holland & Barrett that's yours, then it's probably got a mix of all of those things I've just said. So you could go for one of those if you wanted to. So yeah, tips for supplements. Night sweats, yeah. Blimey, night sweats are a nightmare, aren't they? I know. Night sweats, yeah. What can I say? I'd say try to sort out your coffee and tea and see if that works. And also see if you can meditate or do some breathing techniques and get into that zone. I've noticed that my ladies are saying during lockdown, since lockdown, their anxiety levels have been higher anyway, and then the night sweats have been coming back. So it definitely is connected to the cortisol levels, and it's just because we're lacking in estrogen that your body has, its temperature gauge has gone weird. So there's not loads you can do for that. I do know that estrogen, you know, topical estrogen that you can get as an HRT does really help that if you wanted to go on that. But that, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to say about HRT. How do you know when you're through it? Yeah, you don't. Well, it depends on what your contraception is or whether you've got periods or not. So one of the biggest indicators is that you're not having periods anymore. But like I say, you've got to wait 12 months that you've not had a period to say, yeah, I think I've gone through it now. You're not really going to know. If you've got the Mirena coil, which I have, I don't have periods, so I don't know whether I'm going through it. But if you've got the Mirena coil, which many women do, it's actually giving you a slow dose of progesterone, which is really good to calm the body anyway. So if you've been on the Myarena coil for years for contraception, I can't say it, then if you go to the GPs, they can just give you some gel, estrogen gel, to do that balance. And, you know, that can help. So again, it's another subject, but again, I'll put the link of the doctor that I follow online. That's fantastic. Her website is full of this kind of information, and obviously she's much more clued up than I am. Obviously I'm a fitness instructor and a women's health coach, but when it comes to HRT, I always take people to Dr. Newsom. I'm 48 and already have really weak wrists. Are there any particular exercise you can recommend for me? Okay, so wrists, yeah, this is the biggest area, because and especially now I find, because there's no doors that we actually push open. So when do you ever put any load on that part of the hand? Probably not very often. So I would definitely do mobilization exercises before you have to do any kind of exercise on your hands. So if you're doing planks in Danny and Kat's classes, do some mobilization. So definitely do some moving like this, and also massage your forearm. We forget about our forearm and it can be tight. And just do some, like, you know, those Chinese burns we used to do when we were a kid. You know, massage your forearm, and you can find that your mobility becomes better. And then obviously strength exercises as you're sitting down. You can then, you know, push your hands together and get them to sort of break yourself in gently. That's what I'm trying to say. But many exercises you can do on your elbows instead. So you could do plank elbows instead of the full hand ones. And press ups you could do against the wall, and do some bone loading on the wall with your wrists. So yeah, wrists are always very tight and weak, but again, build up slowly. I'm sure Kat and Danny can give you some great advice on that. Okay, so Dawn's saying she definitely wakes up sweaty and can't get back to sleep. Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it? I would definitely just chill out, she says. So easy to say it, isn't it? I would try some breathing techniques, Dawn, or some meditation. If you can pop them in your ears at night and then just go, you know, off to sleep. But what I would do, if it's a sleep thing, what I say is, first of all, if you're drinking lots of tea and coffee, you're going to be pushing that cortisol level up high. And what happens is we're dead tired in the morning. We get up and we're awake, and it's like you're a bit hyped. And then you have a coffee, don't you, for breakfast, so then it hoiks it up even more. Then you might have one mid-morning, it goes up again, and you're up and down. And then, you know, you might have a cup of tea before you go to bed. And tea still does have caffeine in it. And you find that, you're hoiking your cortisol levels all the time. Or you might be someone who has caffeine in the morning, in the afternoon, and then you have wine at night to try and download your cortisol levels. But actually, alcohol, it gets you to sleep, but it doesn't get you down into that deeper level of sleep. So you find that that's not good either. So firstly, if you can get off the alcohol and the caffeine, it's a great way. But again, do it slowly. So if I've got a lady who's coming to my class and she's having tea just before she goes to bed, so she's having all throughout the evening as well, I'll say, right, have your last cup of tea at 4 p.m. this week. Do that for a week. Do whatever you like in the day. And then bring it forward again to 2 p.m., 12 p.m. and if it's still not working well, and then we sort of try and knock it off completely and see how we go. But that mixed with also that stress relieving exercise can really make a big difference. It's trial and error, very much trial and error with everything. And then you think you've just got it licked for that symptom and then something else pops up. It's not easy, and you need support, and that's what I like to think that with support, it's best when you chat to your friends about it, see what they have ideas and what they do about it as well. Any diet or good foods to eat. So yeah, the good fats is so important. So gone are the days of the low fat diet. We don't want low fat. We do not want it. We want good fat. So we're looking nuts, seeds, avocados, oily fish, and all the omega-3s, 6s and 9s that I've talked about, and making sure that we get those in our diet every single day. Chia seeds, Really great. Get them on your porridge in the morning. Have those and have it with berries. So fruits, the best ones are your berries because they're less in sugar and they've got all in the colours as well. So blueberries are fantastic. So anything that's a blue colour, fantastic, because it's got flavonoids, I think it is. That's fantastic for helping our hormones balance. And the other big food I would definitely suggest is get as much green veg into your body as possible. So a great way to do that is juicing in the morning. Get some spinach in there. Get some anything green, basically. Throw it into a smoothie. So when I get my ladies to do smoothies, I say 80% vegetables, 20% fruit, because what happens when we have a smoothie, we want to go the other way, don't we? We want it really sweet, because sugar will up those cortisol levels, and that's not what we want, and it'll make your insulin levels very weak, which is your blood sugar levels. And then when you've eaten something sugary, they plummet back down, your insulin, and then you're hungry again for more biscuits, and you're going like this throughout the day. So you want to keep those blood sugars nice and level. So it's your low GI foods, so like good clean protein, nice protein every meal if possible. So if you could have eggs for breakfast, fabulous. And also yeah, and vegetables with it, and drop down on the carbohydrates. So we're talking bread, pasta, rice and potatoes. They tend to make our body more stress reactive, and they also, you may as well be eating sugar than have some bread. Okay, so bread particularly, because it's highly processed, tends not to be great for our gut this time, because one of the symptoms in the document is about your gut health. So gut health is the key one as well. So I could go on forever about this subject, I'll tell you, but I'm talking about exercise today. I might get off that. So only having hot sweat early morning, no mood swings, no menstruation for 3 years. Fantastic. Yes, less anxiety, more energy, and no more dryness. Oh, fantastic, Andrew. Looks like you've licked it. Fantastic. Really good. I take vitamin D. I do. I swear by it, Kat. I do. Sea kelp. Oh, that's interesting. Not heard of that one, but yeah, that sounds good. Red meat only once a week in my diet. So most vegetables and pulses, fantastic. Yeah. So your fishes, fantastic. White meat. You know, it's actually the diet that everyone's touting these days anyway. Tips for hubby. Do you want my honest opinion on that one? They haven't got a blooming clue, have they? They really haven't. If they had to go through this, hey, girls, that and childbirth, they don't understand you. And often they can go, who the heck's this? Like, I'm really calm. Throughout my life, I haven't really had PMT. But I am so much more stress reactive. I literally could bite anyone's head off quite a lot. And I have to kind of catch myself doing it and then stop, kind of thing. That's difficult. And Greg's like, who the heck's this? It's really mad. It is hard. It is hard. And libido's hard. Very hard. Yeah. That's another talk, isn't it? That one. Is it normal for hot sweats to come and go? I seem to have them for a while, then they disappear and go for it. Yes, definitely. So you might be having them for a while. Have a look back at those times. And is it where you felt a bit more stressed? Is your body more stressed? Is your mind more stressed? Is your life too stressed? Generally, most of our lives before lockdown, actually, this is interesting, isn't it? Before lockdown, obviously we've had this enforced pause, haven't we? This enforced calmness in our lives, and everything does seem calmer. Obviously there's the threat of the virus itself, but you're safe in your home, and I've found lots of ladies are sleeping much better, interestingly, without the anxiety about the actual virus itself. Their life has become calmer and quieter. But generally, when you think now, what was your life before lockdown? Was it mental? Were you whizzing from here to there and dropping kids off and doing homework and doing this and looking after your elderly neighbour or your mum and your dad and know everything? Is it all stressy like that? And now it's a great time just to sit and go, yeah, do a bit of life laundry. Check it out. Make a list of the things that you don't want to go back and do, and don't feel guilty for it. Because as women, we find that we feel guilty, don't we, for doing things like that. That we find guilty if we're not doing everything or looking after everyone, having the perfect house, having the perfect body and all of that kind of thing. So just maybe have a sit down and go through your life laundry. I think that's quite interesting. Yeah, so they disappear. It might be that you've a little bit stressed, not sure. My hot sweats have been coming and going for a few years now. Yeah, they're a nightmare, aren't they? They just really are. And that is the biggest indicator, I think, that you know that you're kind of going through it, and it really does drive you insane. Yes. Are there any positives to soya milk instead of dairy when hitting the peri? Now, with soy, which is often people do say that, let's get soy milk, let's get things that are soya. Now, my training was very much American based. And in America, there's a lot more soya based foods which are genetically modified. Which basically means they're processed to death, aren't they? So we try to steer clear of anything that is processed to death, because your body isn't dealing with things as quickly as they normally did, because obviously it's dealing with everything else. It's in a state of flux. It's often in a state of inflammation, your body. So you want to do everything you can to get rid of that inflammation. So processed food, try to keep off it as much as possible. So I would class soy as a processed food. And also there is also some research, and I can't quite remember what it is, but there's a big, like a big question mark. Is it really that great for perimenopausal women? So again, I personally say just go clean foods and have done with it. Dairy, now again, dairy can affect your gut health very much so. So lactose in dairy can. But again, you might not be that person. I'm all for trying the foods, seeing how they feel. You might have a period of your life where you go, actually, it's not dealing well in my body at the moment. I'm not going to bother with it. And you might go off it and it might be fine after a few months. So it's very much like that. And it's not a bad thing to change what you're eating. It's a good thing, actually. It's great to keep your metabolism sort of on power, just keeping it going. Oh, let's try this, let's try that. So whilst I don't want you to flick around loads, but the key elements here is keep off the processed food, keep off the white sugar and the white carbs particularly, and just get your body full of green vegetables. I can't say that strong enough because they're just fabulous. So after I've studied the menopause, I've now moved on to Alzheimer's and dementia for my ladies that have gone through the menopause and now they're post-menopause. So that's a total another story. And there's a whole stuff all about longevity and about brain health, because I'm really interested in brain health, and women particularly have a higher risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. So there's masses of studies coming out at the moment all about that. So I've been studying that. So that's another talk, isn't it? There's just one more question. I'm really running over time. So you've been using soy milk in porridge. What would you suggest as an alternative? Well, I mean, you know, if you're liking it and it's not giving you any symptoms, carry on. It's fine. Absolutely fine. I'm not saying don't eat something because of this. I'm just saying what they do in the States and what people are saying here. I personally like my almond milk and my oat milk in my porridge. I love that. And that's really great. Again, it's plant-based. Plant-based is a great way to, you know, get your body full of plants for a start. But I do think you need some good proteins as well. So if you are a vegetarian or vegan, fantastic. However, often vegetarians and vegans are eating things like corn or things that are processed to look like meat, which obviously is processed. It goes kind of against the grain. So if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, try to go for the beans, peas and lentils for your main protein source if you can, rather than your cheese, obviously if you're vegetarian, not vegan. Are there any apps you can recommend to my menopausal women clients to track their symptoms? Oh, I don't know actually, Megan. You're right. So many struggle to optimal train with hormones. Oh, maybe I could start an app. Thanks for that. No apps that I know at the moment. There's quite a number of people that will train you. I'm one of them, actually. That's what I do. That's my whole thing is training menopausal women or beyond and helping them. It's a huge, massive subject because like we can train one way for 6 weeks and then we literally falls off the cliff and we train another way. So it's very much, again, getting into the mindset of the person, because it's a changing time in our life and we're much more aware of it now. I find that a lot more ladies do know more about it, which is fantastic, you know, and education is power, isn't it? So, you know, as much as you can find out from all your friends, ask around, and then know your own body is the key thing here. And I'm sure Kat and Danny talk about it all the time. Knowing what your body feels like right now in this moment, you know, have you got some classes you're going to do tonight and you're really looking forward to it, and does it hype you up? And how do you feel after that exercise? Do you feel great? Do you feel energized? Do you feel ready to go for the day? Or do you feel like, oh my God, I feel absolutely tired out here? So you need to understand your own body, being aware, and then look at a variety of all types of exercise and all types of food. But the key things are keep it simple and keep it clean is my big topic. So I've talked now for 35 minutes. Is that enough, Kat? Would you like any more questions answered? I'm always here. If you want to find me, I'm Susan Booth. I run a Pilates business in Derby at the moment, but I do have my online 40 plus woman group like everyone has. So do message me if you want to on Facebook if you want any more questions, and I can point you in the right direction if you need some more information on HRT or anything like that. I know some great people to follow online. You know, don't just sit there with your symptoms. Try to look what you can do, what you can control, and what you may be able to bring into your life to make you feel better, because you know you're worth it. You're definitely worth it, and you know it will pass. This too will pass, like everything else. Thank you. Great. All right then. So I'll wind it up now. Glad it's been interesting. Really great to see you all here. Fantastic turnout. Thank you very much for inviting me, Kat. And if you need any more advice on, I do also a talk on sleep. I do one on pelvic floor. I didn't even mention the pelvic floor. Oh my God. Pelvic floor, yes. Bladder issues, that kind of thing. And I also do a talk on longevity for Alzheimer's and dementia. Lovely. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.